Right, so welcome everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Speakeasy Cafe. It's so good to see all of you. I'm excited to be here with you today. Today's Speakeasy Cafe is going to be continuing our theme on storytelling. So I'm really excited about today's topic because, well, I love to tell stories, and I think storytelling is one of the premium gifts or skills, I should say, that all entrepreneurs should have. And if you're a coach, which I think a lot of you are that follow me, that's a skill that you really, really want to have. So we're going to dive into a portion of storytelling. Last week, I talked about the power of your own story, your personal story. And we talked a little bit about how that connects you to your audience and they get to know your why and they get to know you as a real person. Today, I want to dive a little bit into what can make your story stand out and some of the core elements of story that is very important to make sure you are including when you tell a story. So let me go ahead and I'll share that, and then we will see, what questions you guys might have. All right, so the title today is Make Your Story Stand Out Using Story Elements for Impact. So storytelling, it has been around forever, right? We all know that. And a great story isn't just about what happened. A lot of times people just tell what happened, but it's really about how you tell the story and the right story at the right time. And so it takes a little bit of skill and it takes a little bit of practice, but once you get this down, like, you can make a huge impact in people's lives. You can also make a huge impact in your how people follow you and how they connect with you. So the right story elements will help you make your message unforgettable. And that's what we're going to cover today. Just some basic elements. There's 5 of them. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. So take notes. And then I'm going to share a quick story so you can see and hear all those elements. And then you can go and take your story and see if you can add those elements and make sure that you have a story that really stands out. And why does that even matter? Why does standing out matter? Well, we know that attention spans are short today, right? You have like a couple of seconds, they say, 3 seconds, 7 seconds to capture somebody's attention. And audiences today hear a lot of stories. So they're watching YouTube videos and they're watching TV and they're listening to all kinds of podcasts and they're going to events. And so they hear a lot of stories. So your story needs to grab them. And I just have a real quick question for you. Have you ever told your story and then it felt like it didn't land the way you hoped it would land? Have you ever done that? Told a story, and I see some of you nodding like, yeah, you tell your story and it's kind of like falls flat, or people are yawning or looking at their watch or their phone. And it's not that there's anything wrong with your story. It's just probably how you told it and how you put it together. So you need to have these 5 essential elements. And these are really the most powerful techniques. And you'll see this when you watch or listen to really great storytellers. You'll see these elements. So the first one is you need a relatable hero. A relatable hero. And that would be you if you're telling your story. And your audience needs to see themselves in your story. So this is something to write down, actually, and remember. Your story that you tell when you're speaking or you're running an event, your story is not really about you. And you might be thinking, well, Janelle, wait a minute. I'm the character. I'm the hero in the story. And it's my story. I lived it. But it's really not about you. Your story is not about you. Your story is about your audience. And that might be a mindset shift for a lot of you. And I wrestled with that a lot too. I was like, how do I tell a story about me, but make it about them? That's the trick, right? They need to see themselves in your story. They need to be able to relate to you or whoever the story is about so that they can connect with that and say, oh, yeah, I can relate to that. That happened to me or something similar. And it needs to show your vulnerability. We talked about that last time. Your vulnerability, and it needs to show real emotions. So don't be afraid to be a little bit vulnerable. and show some emotion so that your audience can connect. We all can relate to common emotions. We're all human. We have very common experiences and we experience emotions, right? The same emotions. And so if you're telling your story without any emotion and no vulnerability, you're just kind of maybe reciting it or telling it matter of factly, it might be the most powerful story, but your audience isn't going to be able to really connect and you'll lose them. You'll lose their attention. Just like any good movie, it starts off with, something emotional, something you see the real character have vulnerable emotions and go through a struggle, and that you can relate to that, and you're drawn in because you're rooting for them. So here's an example. Instead of saying, I struggled with confidence, you could say something like, I sat in that meeting, my heart pounding, afraid to speak up. You see how that brings out so much more vulnerability and emotion, and it's just adding in a few more words. So that's number one, relatable hero, which is you. Number two, a high stakes conflict, right? You need to have some kind of conflict because life is not just a bed of roses. And if your story is all like tiptoeing through the tulips and there's rainbows and unicorns and everything's fine and fuzzy, you're going to lose your audience. Why? Because life is full of conflict. Everybody has struggles. Everybody has obstacles. So ask yourself this, what's the challenge or obstacle in your story that you faced that will make your audience lean in? Like, oh yeah, I can relate. And then you want to add in some details to create suspense, like, what was it that was coming against you, or who? What was it that was at risk? What was the big challenge? Here's another example. Instead of, I wasn't getting any clients. I mean, that's a challenge, right? But what if you said it like this? I had launched my coaching business with 0 signups, and I was doubting if I should just quit. So you're introducing an obstacle, but you're also sharing like what it was you were up against. What was the risk and what were you feeling? Makes it a lot more powerful. The second element is a high stakes conflict. The third element, a pivotal transformation moment. There's a turning point that changes everything. Your story needs to come to that point where everything changes. If you keep people in the pain and the struggle and it never resolves and you never come to a turning point, you'll also lose people. So they do need to feel the conflict, but they also need to see, where did the change come from? What happened? How did it all work out? So there's a turning point, a pivotal transformation moment. And you want to use vivid descriptions and emotions for that as well. So think about your story. Where was that moment where everything changed? Maybe you made a decision. Maybe somebody came into your life to help you. Maybe you were reading a book and all of a sudden you're like, aha. Or you're, I don't know, just watching a video or something and something drops into your mind and your heart and you're like, that's it. So here's an example. I was reading a book one day and suddenly I knew exactly what I had to do. So you're sharing with people the moment and what you were doing, and, bring in some kind of like a dramatic aha, and let people feel it. I knew exactly what I had to do. And then number 4, this is very important. So we've got a relatable hero, a high stakes conflict, a pivotal transformation moment, and number 4, sensory details and emotion. You want to bring your audience into the scene with specific details. One mistake people make when they're telling stories is they just sort of do this chronological timeline because they feel like everybody needs to know what happened before, but we don't necessarily need to know it in a chronological timeline. You can actually just drop people into moments during your journey where things were happening, or something that was very emotional or very dramatic or very important, right? So think about specific scenes along the journey. Where do you want to drop people in? Bring them into a moment in time and describe it as if it's happening right now. That is much more powerful than saying, well, I remember when I started my business and I was going through training. First, I signed up for training and then I went through the training and then I started my business. And then, you're sort of taking people through this timeline. Instead of doing that, drop them into a moment. I remember standing there in my coach training, wondering, what am I doing here? Am I going to be able to do this? So when you drop people into the moment like that, you don't have to say, well, I signed up for coach training and then I went and then I was here. Just drop them into that moment because they'll get it. They'll, when you're watching a movie and the action starts right away and there's a car chase or something and it's just happening and you're drawn right in, you don't know what everything that led up to that yet, but you can figure out there's some kind of a car chase, right? Something's going on. So here's an example. And also think about, what did you see, hear, and feel in that moment? And also use dialogue if possible. So here's an example. I opened up my email and the subject line read, "We regret to inform you." Oh, my stomach just dropped. So I brought you into a moment. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what it led up to that. You don't know what the email's about, but it grabs your attention because now you want to find out what in the world's going on. So this was a very big key for me, was to think about scenes, moments in time. That's a huge one. So 4 is using sensory details and emotion and bringing people into a scene, a specific time, moment. And the 5th one is a memorable takeaway. So what's the lesson your audience can apply to their lives? You want to end with a powerful, concise message like, your voice matters. The world needs to hear your story. Something like that. You want to end with a nice, like, what is the message that your story is conveying to them? It should be, one of my mentors always said, every story has to have a message, and every message needs a story. Because if you just share your message, your voice matters, and you don't have a story to really illustrate the message, it's not going to be as powerful. But if you tell a story, and it's just a story about you, but it has no message for people to take away, it also loses its power. So let me share a story as an example, and hopefully you'll see these 5 elements. Sitting in my office at work as an office manager one day, I stared out the window. My mind was just numb from staring at spreadsheets and numbers and all of my work that I was doing that day. I just knew I needed to take the next step. I needed to go ahead and sign up for coach training. This is what made my heart pound with excitement. Every time I thought about helping people as a coach, I would get fired up. Ordering office supplies and paying invoices, it just didn't do that for me. But I was scared. I was almost 61. And I thought, am I crazy? I mean, aren't I a little bit too old to be starting a business? And what do I know about running a business? And will I be able to actually find clients and make money? And then there was also that big investment. This was a significant amount of money to take this training. And we really didn't have it. I'd have to take out a loan. And what if I didn't make it? What if I didn't make it as a coach? How could I pay that back? As I sat there wrestling with my thoughts, I heard my boss in the other room talking to some of my coworkers. She was sharing a story about her and her husband and how they were trying to decide if they should take their kids to Disney World that year. They were going back and forth and back and forth. I don't know if this is the right time. Can we afford it? And finally, she says to her husband, if not now, when? Our kids aren't going to be this age forever. And who knows what's going to be going on next year? We should just do it now. And when she said that, if not now, when? It hit me like a lightning bolt. And I sat there in my office, repeating that over and over to myself. If not now, when? If I don't jump in now and take the leap right now, I'm just going to get older. And that day, everything changed. I went from doubting and being afraid to jump in to just, I am all in, because if not now, when? If I don't jump in now, a year from now, where will I be? And so I got on the computer and I signed up for coach training. I took out that loan. I took the leap, and I have not regretted it since. It was the best decision I ever made. Sometimes we need to just take the leap. Sometimes we are holding ourselves back with just doubt and fear and worried about all kinds of things instead of just believing in ourselves and our own vision and our dreams. If not now, when? Time is going by so fast. You never know what tomorrow will bring. So take the leap, chase your dreams, go after your passions. If not now, when? All right, so that was a quick story. I hope you heard those elements in there. I dropped you into a scene. I shared an obstacle. You had a relatable hero there. I had a conflict. I had a pivotal moment. Hopefully, I shared some emotions and details, and then the memorable takeaway. If not now, when? Go after your dreams. So I have a quick exercise for you guys. Take a key moment with your story. Look at your story, write your story out, and then look at the key moments. Make sure you're bringing people into a moment and then add in these elements to make it stronger. And then practice it. And a challenge would be to go ahead and record like a 60-second version of your story and post it somewhere or ask for feedback from people and see what you come up with. Because the more that you share it and the more that you hear yourself sharing it and then getting feedback from people, the better you'll be at it. So my closing thought for you today is this: your story is powerful, but the way you tell it makes the difference. Use these elements and your audience won't just listen, they'll remember and they will take action. So I hope this was helpful for you all today. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. And all the details are below this video if you want to get in touch with me. I have lots of things coming up, and I'd love to see you at one of my events. So thank you so much. See you guys next time. All right, so now I will open it up. Let me go to my, hang on a second. See, there we go. Let me let you guys unmute. And if you have any questions, just jump right in here and ask. There we go.
I did not hear it. I want my money back.
All right, here you go.
I need that free 50 back on the 30 by the 33rd next month, not a minute later, please.
Okay.
That was your tonality is one of the best I have heard in a long time.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for receiving that for as much as it was meant as from me.
Yeah, I do. I received that.
I'm going
Absolutely.
to be quiet because I can't see anyone, so I don't, and I'm not trying to suck the air out here.
Okay. Appreciate it though.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Anybody else have anything they want to share or ask?
Janelle, I don't have any questions, just thank you. That was really good because I'm not a storyteller at all. I know a good one when I hear it. I don't know why. So it's really nice to hear the actual elements,
Yeah,
so I can break it down in my head, how I should be saying things. So yeah, very informative. Thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah, the key really is to try them out, and practice. The more that you practice. And then another thing I did was I watched a lot of videos of people like TEDx talks and things like that. And on YouTube, you can find a lot of these Toastmaster contests winners that are sharing and just watching what they're doing. How are they grabbing your attention? What are they doing to make you feel the emotions? How are they bringing you into the scene? You'll see these same elements coming up over and over again, and then just start practicing it.
if I may please, the literal, and this is not from an arrogance place, but rather just people's sheer experience and talent and ability place. It's very rare that I get to sit back and actually learn and and soak in the one thing that I had that was not a critique in any way, shape, or fashion. The tiny little extension would be for people like herself who are self-proclaimed not storytellers.
Yeah.
It One of the best things that I have ever found for myself, to this moment, to this day, I do it. And when trying to develop a story, I always like to go back to like the Dennis the Menace. The best lies are based in truth.
Hmm.
When she was speaking towards creating that story, bringing people into a time and a place and a moment, take yourself there when
Yeah.
you're creating it and when you are actually telling it. When you tell the audience about that little house, make that little house your grandmother's house from back in the day. Be walking to that door in your mind's eye. If you are there as a speaker and as the curator of this story, they will be there with you, and it makes it ingrains it so much deeper into our brains and into our emotions, and we naturally tend to ooze those types of things, just to be a bit poignant and displaced for absolutely no good reason.
That's a really good point, and I often actually share that too. I'm glad you brought that up because it's the easiest way to actually feel those emotions again is to put yourself in
Hmm.
that moment and be there as you're telling the story. And before you get up to speak, like imagine and envision yourself in the story. Practice it every time you tell it, putting yourself there in that moment as if it's really happening right now. Awesome. Before people jump off, I know Melanie just jumped off. I made this offer last week. I'm going to do it again. My 3-day event is coming up next week. It's called the Virtual Events Boot Camp. And we're going to spend 3 days next week, March 19, 20, and 21. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to share everything that I possibly can in those 3 days about how to not only host a virtual event, but how to bring people in the room, how to keep them engaged, how to tell great stories, how to put your content together. And we're going to actually, section by section throughout the 3 days, you're going to start putting together your own event. And you're going to practice some of this, and you're going to go into breakout rooms, and you're going to share with each other, and we're going to have hot seat coaching and demonstrations and all kinds of really cool things. And also, I'm going to share with you how your workshops or whatever events you do, but I'll be talking about workshops because if you come up with a core workshop, it can become like the fuel for the engine of your business. And so we'll look at that. How does that fit into the bigger picture of a business model? How can that be a core piece? And what does that look like? Where does that fit into all the things you need to run a really good, prosperous coaching business? So we're going to have a lot of fun. It's 3 full days. I have a whole team that'll be there. We're going to have coaches there. You're going to get a coaching session. I'm going to give you a free assessment, which is going to show you where you're at in your business journey, where the gaps are, where you're doing great, all that. It's going to be a really powerful 3 days. So it is, and I would highly recommend if you want to come as a VIP because the VIPs get all the recordings of the entire event and you'll have access to those recordings forever. So you can go back and review, or if you miss some, it's all there for you. You don't lose it. You're going to get a workbook that goes with it. As you walk through each section, that workbook will become like your event blueprint. And you're going to get 2 master classes. One is today at 3 o'clock Eastern time, and one is next Monday. And the first one today, we're going to be talking about how to um, use your title and topic as a way to attract your ideal clients and to get attention. So we're going to dive into what makes a good topic, what makes a good title, how to test your title to make sure it's highly converting and engaging. We're going to have a lot of fun. That's today. And then next Monday, we're going to talk about how to get people in your event. It's called the Packed House Playbook in depth. Now, during the 3 days, I'll touch on those, but I won't go into as much depth as I will in the VIP master classes. So on top of the 3 days, you're going to get these 2 pieces that are hugely valuable, very important. And then during the event, we have 2 VIP sessions. One's going to be a hot seat coaching on around your offer that you're going to make in your event, and the other one's going to be how to play with ChatGPT and help ChatGPT help you build your event. So it's going to be super fun. So what I am offering you guys, the VIP early bird price right now is $147. General admission is $47. So you can still come to the event and be participating in everything. You won't get the recordings and the extra master classes, but you'll be able to be there and interact with everybody and get a coaching session and create your event blueprint, all the good stuff. But what I'm offering you guys, and I did this last week, I've only done this a couple of times. I only do this like usually in my workshops. And right now, this extra special offer is going to go away by Wednesday, because everything is going to go from early bird to regular pricing. But what I'm offering you guys, since you're here, is a VIP ticket for the general admission early bird price today of $47. So you can get everything the
I'm in.
VIPs get. I mean, right? Yeah. So I put the link in the chat there. And if you sign up right now today, I'll actually be able to send you a quick email so you can come to the masterclass later today on topics and titles, which I think I changed the name of that to something really cool, stand out and step up or something. What is the name of that?
Coach, I've got to jump. I've also got to run to the bank, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Can I do, I do want to do that.
Okay.
But my wallet's actually in my truck, which is 100 yards away.
Oh,
Can
yeah, yeah.
how can I get the link again from
Uh,
right here, like in say 15 minutes from now?
let's see, I probably have, well, give me your
Yeah,
just tell
yes, ma'am,
me.
please.
Yeah,
It's
tell me your
Hallie,
email. Okay.
HALLEY
Uh-huh.
at Dr. Dr.
Mhm.
Positivity, 2 Y's at the end of positivity.com.
2 Y's at the end of positivity.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will send the link to you right after I get off here. And
I look forward to speaking with you. I
yeah,
really could. I've got a new a new one I'm putting together, if you will, and I
mhm.
really need some help with my why.
All
And
right.
it's my millionth why, and I need some dadgum help with it.
Good. Awesome. Well, I'm very
Yes,
excited to
ma'am.
help you.
I'm glad I found you. The Lord has a
Yeah.
plan. Take care.
Yes, you
I'll
did. All
see
right.
you
Take
soon.
care.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
righty. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a blessed day.
Bye. Anybody else have a question before you go? No? Okay. Well, I hope I see you guys, and come join us for Virtual Events Boot Camp, and we will see you today later. All right. Great. Thanks. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.